Kamen Rider is beyond need for an introduction. We've talked about this franchise quite a few times here on Sushi Bites. One constant these Kamen Rider episodes have in common is that the games never reached the West in any official capacity, and unfortunately, here's another example. One of these days, Bandai Namco might get their act together, though personally, I think we've got a greater chance of finding Sasquatch. Shin Kamen Rider was deployed into cinemas in 2023, a film made to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Kamen Rider franchise. Directed by Evangelion's Hideaki Anno, this movie reimagining of the original 1971 television series once again told the story of Takeshi Hongo, a human who was captured and augmented by the evil Shoka organization, who then chose to defy his captors and bring them to justice. I would have loved to have seen it in the theatre. Despite releasing in March of last year and hitting streaming services in July, I didn't even know the film was available to watch in the UK. It's locked behind the Amazon Prime subscription, no less. No fanfare. It's like there's a distinct lack of communication from Toei to the English-speaking fans of Kamen Rider, Masked Rider, and of course, no UK Blu-ray release. Look, I'm throwing my money at the screen, why isn't it working? Hey Toei, this could be yours? In keeping with the spirit of letting Kamen Rider languish mostly within Japan and the various Asian territories, the game that was released to promote the film, 2023's SD Shin Kamen Rider Rumble, is conspicuously absent in the West, despite having a full English translation. Hell, it's available on Steam right now. Whoops, sorry, not in your region. Unless your region is Japan or any of the others with a price next to them. Gonna go out on a limb here and say the US dollar should be just as good as the Singapore dollar. I mean, are you guys allergic to money? Anyway, we could have all the time in the world to complain about the lack of Kamen Rider media in the West, and it still wouldn't be enough time. So instead, let's look at this Kamen Rider title for Nintendo Switch and PC, and then maybe we can squeeze in a little more ranting at the end. Sounds good? Great. So in the absolute broadest of strokes, SD Shin Kamen Rider Rumble is something of a beat-em-up crossed with a roguelite. You've got upgrades that persist across all playthroughs of the game in the form of a skill tree, and power-ups that are only applied for each separate run. It encourages multiple playthroughs to max out your skills and make progress. That's great for getting your money's worth out of the game, but the lack of enemy variety can seem a little dry. Does make it easier to memorize their attack patterns though, you're not juggling a handful of different enemy movesets at once. Speaking of juggling, a lot of the game is wailing on massive groups of enemies, and even after they're dead, you can keep their corpses suspended in midair with repeated combos. This increases your battle rank, which affects your rewards at the end of each stage. The run begins with your character in an untransformed state, either Takeshi Hongo or Hayato Ichimonji. You can play in this state and hand out some punishment, but you won't have your full selection of moves until you transform. So when you feel like it's time to suck significantly less ass, you can transform into your Kamen Rider form. Doing this will heal you by a moderate amount, and gives you access to the rest of your moveset. Your standard attacks, throws, etc. now have a much greater range to start with. You also have access to the iconic Kamen Rider flying kick. You can stomp on enemies' heads, and your finisher moves, both a standard forward-facing move and a spinning move. The latter is great for when the members of Shocker are all up in your grill. If having a standard form and a Kamen Rider form wasn't confusing enough, you can discard your jacket to enter the Kamen Rider without a jacket form. If you take off your pants and jacket, you do more damage, and you take more damage, so it's something of a risk-reward. You can also do your ultimate special move once you've discarded your coat, so make like Kazuma Kiryu and cast off your jacket if you want to deal some major damage. Bosses can only be defeated with your ultimate special finishing blow. That's the only time I ever feel specifically stressed out during combat, because I'm forced to halve my defense in order to do the move. Temporary stat boosts and gameplay changes come in the form of food or drink items that you obtain. For example, these may increase your strength at the start of a fight or leave poison puddles on the ground when you dodge, that inflict status ailments on enemies should they collide with it. Some last for a certain number of battles, others last until the end of your run. Once you defeat an area boss, you can upgrade the Cyclone Bike to allow you to start further in. kind of like how Spelunky lets you dig tunnels further down to start later. That sounds like a good way to be completely unprepared. Thankfully, Shin Kamen Rider Rumble has unlockable upgrades for the bike that give you items or bonuses if you start a run further in, giving you a somewhat more even footing. This game is certainly lacking the depth of something like All Rider Revolution. What depth this game did have, in the form of downloadable characters Ultraman, Godzilla, and the EVA 01, was delisted and no longer available for purchase on December 21st, 2023. This is how Bandai Namco chose to wish people a Merry Christmas. So even if you were to pick up Shin Kamen Rider Rumble in the January sales, or your estranged uncle bought you a copy for Christmas, you'd have a far inferior experience overall to someone who was able to grab the season pass. That got me back onto the subject of Bandai Namco and Toei. Yeah. You have fans in the West who are simply asking for something more fulfilling than table scraps, and they're happy to pay you for it. When you've got games like Batch Ride Wars stuck in Japan, entire seasons of the show completely unwatchable due to geo restrictions, a drip feed of Blu-ray releases in the West. When our Kamen Rider games officially released over here consist of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight for DS and Wii, and the Sega CD game, you guys really are allergic to money. This has been Sushi Bites. Now, count up your sins.